nos amamos, mi vida sin ti sería más que terrible. Porque mi amor siento no fue que me enamoró.
This show is brought to you by Safety FM.
The following program is rated MALSV. It contains strong language, sexual situations, and violence. It is intended only for mature audiences.
Finally, show with the balls to call it like it is. Rated R Safety Show on Safety FM.
Countdown to audio torture.
The Rated R Safety Show starts in 3, 2, 1.
Let the eardrum pain begin.
Forget the corporate bullshit. This is the Rated R Safety Show with your host, Dr. It doesn't matter who the host is.
Well, is that not the truth or what? Today's Tuesday, June the 22nd of 2021, day 173 of the year, and only 192 days left to go. Hopefully everything is great and grand inside of your neck of the woods, wherever the hell you're hanging out this lovely morning, at least morning where I'm at. It could be something entirely different where you're at, of course. We talk about that all the time. Anyways, we're broadcasting live from the Safety FM studios in Orlando, Florida, but I think you already kind of knew that because we talk about that every single day. I feel that way. I think we talk about that every single day. But we're also broadcasting with our cohorts, our colleagues, our friends, our groups, our sister station, however you want to deem it, however you want to call it, that other place that we are simulcasting on right over there.
With streams so crisp that you can feel the sarcasm in your ear holes. Radio Big.
So there you go. We are simulcasting on Radio Big currently at the moment as we are there. Anyway, so how are you? Like, seriously, how are you doing into this week so far? And it's kind of interesting. We talk every morning or afternoon or wherever the hell the time is that you listen to the radio show or the pod or whatever. I mean, sometimes depending on where you take a listen to this is kind of the fun part. What some people don't realize is that this show actually happens at noon as well. At least in the Eastern Seaboard time, if you're taking a listen to it on the radio station. But here's the gig. Let's talk about this real quick. Most of the times we don't even really kind of want to know how the other person's doing. It's going, hey, how are you? Like, do you really care? Or is it just kind of something to move on to the next segment? But seriously, at this point this morning, how are you? How are you doing? How are things? Are things going well for you? I think it's always important to have that conversation starting off. So as we get into it this morning, let's start talking about the things that we talk about here. If you're new to the show, it kind of goes in this typical format. We bring in some professional broadcasters. They talk about what's going on. I give you the highlights of what was trending in the overnight. And then we come back. We go into some deeper thoughts of some other news stories that are going on. I tell you what they gave me to talk about, and then we go through it. And then I give you my jargon on it. So, with that being said, let's talk about the top 5 songs that are trending in each one of Spotify and iTunes. So, let's talk about those real quick. At number 5, according to the iTunes top 5 songs, Mass Wolf, Astronaut in the Ocean. At number 4, Nelly and Florida Georgia Line, Lil Bit. At number 3, Creedence Clearwater, Rain. Yeah. Have you ever seen the rain? There you go. Isn't it Clearwater Creedence? Hold on. Creedence Clearwater Revival? That's what I thought it was. Gabby Barrett, The Good Ones. And at number 1, Walker Hayes, Fancy Like. So there you go. According to Spotify, the top 5 songs are Doja Cat, Kiss Me More. Little Nas, Call Me By Your Name at number 4. Bad Bunny, Jonaguni. That's at number 3. And then Alejandro, Todo de Ti at number 2. And taking in at the number 1 spot, well, good for you, Olivia Rodrigo. So there you go. That's what's going on each side of the categoria, if you wanted to know. So here's the thing. I kind of feel like sometimes we do some of these things, and we hang in the morning, and we do the stuff that we do, And I kind of go, what if we do things that are slightly out of the ord? Because all the time we talk about some things that might make sense for some and might not make sense for others, and that's cool. But all the time we are doing these things that are regimented, it feels like, from time to time. And why is that? I mean, does it help better? Like, most people know that at the midpoint of the show, I will do the main story. Is that important? Do you like it regimented, or do you just kind of like, let's go from wherever? And I keep on wondering, should we go earlier in the day? Like, is this a 6 a.m. show in the Eastern Seaboard? I mean, I already know it's early for the Central Time people and really early for the Pacific Time people. But I think about this all the time. I'm always wanting to do whatever the hell you want. And yeah, you can send the request to get me off the air. Yeah, some people might say that too.
You are listening to something magical. You're listening to the Rated R Safety Show.
Here is the news on the Rated R Safety Show.
From Feature Story News in London, I'm Ollie Barrett. India's vaccinated more than 8.5 million people in one day. It's a record for the nation that has been struggling with vaccine shortages. It's now hoped the pandemic can be brought under control in the country, as Ishan Garg reports from New Delhi.
It was day one of the new vaccination policy. Under it, the federal government has taken charge of vaccine procurement, moving away from the previous policy where the states had to procure doses for those between the ages of 18 and 45. Authorities expect vaccine supply to improve even further in the next month. More than 200 million shots could be available by then. Prime Minister Narendra Modi is calling the uptake in inoculation gladdening. But experts warn that authorities still need to counter vaccine hesitancy, especially in rural areas. Ishan Garg, New Delhi.
The UK government says it can't confirm when international travel will be opened up more to people who've received 2 vaccine doses. Health Secretary Matt Hancock's confirmed he's in favour of the plan. It would see people who've had 2 jabs able to travel to countries rated green and amber on the UK's traffic light system without needing to quarantine on their return.
The whole point of the vaccine programme is to be able to remove restrictions and for people to be able to be kept safe by the vaccine rather than by these rules. So we are working on a plan for double vaccinated people using tests instead of having to have the quarantine. We're working with the clinicians because we want to make sure that this is safe and secure. So I can't give you a date, but what I can tell you is that I'm in favour of moving forward in this area.
The World Health Organization says a growing number of poorer countries are running out of COVID-19 vaccine doses. At least half the 80 low-income countries involved in the COVAX vaccine distribution scheme don't have enough to continue their current inoculation programs, according to the WHO. The US military could slow down its withdrawal from Afghanistan due to the gains made by the Taliban. The Pentagon stressing President Joe Biden's deadline of a full withdrawal by September remains in place, but says it could adjust the pace. Kate Fisher reports from Washington.
It comes as nearly 24 of Afghanistan's 387 districts were taken over by the Taliban at the weekend, adding to some 30 others seized by the insurgents across the country since early May, according to local reports. The Pentagon says it's constantly looking at the situation on the ground and that if there needs to be changes made to the pace of the withdrawal, it will adjust accordingly. But it made clear that all US forces will leave the country by the September deadline. Pentagon officials said last week that the withdrawal is around half completed. Kate Fisher, Washington.
From bureaus worldwide, this is FSN.
With FSN Spotlight, I'm Simon Marks. Today, the International Olympic Committee and the Japanese government make a decision that is going to be a major hostage to fortune. They announced on Monday plans for spectators to attend the Tokyo Olympics, despite warnings from public health experts who last week advised that there should be no live audiences in the stands. Instead, seats will be capped at up to 50% of any venue's capacity to a maximum of 10,000 people. and all of them domestic from Japan. Liam Morgan is chief senior reporter at the website Inside the Games.
It will be a very different experience. They'll be told to wear masks, they won't be allowed to cheer or shout. Organisers are also telling them to travel directly to the venue and go home straight afterwards to avoid any risk of spreading. But in polls that have been done by Japanese agencies, a lot of the Japanese people want the games to be cancelled or postponed again. There have been, umpteen warnings from health officials and experts about this becoming a super spreader event if it's allowed to go ahead. And now it is going ahead with fans, despite those warnings. I'm sure there'll be some criticism in the coming weeks before the opening ceremony.
And enormous nervousness. You will hear full coverage of all the news from the Olympics right here via FSN's bureau in Tokyo. The opening ceremonies take place on July the 23rd. With FSN Spotlight, I'm Simon Marks.
And to recap the top stories, India's vaccinated more than 8.5 million people in one day. The UK government says it can't confirm when international travel will be opened up more to people who've received 2 vaccines. The WHO says a growing number of poorer countries are running out of COVID-19 vaccine doses, and the US military could slow down its withdrawal from Afghanistan due to the gains made by the Taliban, according to the Pentagon. That's the latest feature story news. Ollie Barrett reporting.
Listen at your own risk. Rated R Safety Show.
I spend a lot of time in the backyard, and I'm the center of attention at summer barbecues. In '96, I made some of the tastiest s'mores. And in '09, it was me, your backyard fire pit, that accidentally started a wildfire when a summer breeze carried one of my embers into some dry brush.
Spark a change, not a wildfire. Visit SmokeyBear.com. Brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service, your state forester, and the Ad Council.
Only you can prevent wildfires.
Hope you enjoyed your meal. And I just want to say, he's lucky to have a brother like you.
Lucky? Caring for my brother is far from easy. But he's a part of me, like my arms and legs, so I'll be his. No time for tired. Nothing can disable this love. He needs me, but I'm the lucky one, even though I need help now and then.
If you're caring for a loved one, visit aarp.org/caregiving for care guides and community. Support for your strength. Brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
What if I told you that a tornado was going to happen tomorrow, right where you live? That it would touch down at exactly 3:17 p.m., and I told you the exact path it would take. You would, of course, prepare. You would talk with your loved ones, and you'd make a plan today. It's true, I can't tell you a tornado will strike tomorrow, but shouldn't you have a plan anyway? Go to ready.gov/communicate and make your emergency plan today. Don't wait. Communicate. Brought to you by FEMA and the Ad Council.
This is Mario Andretti. You know me as a race car driver, but I'm also a Meals on Wheels volunteer. I've raced against the sport's biggest personalities, but I've never met more vibrant, amazing people than the seniors served by Meals on Wheels. You can make a difference by dropping off a hot meal and saying a quick hello. So, America, let's do lunch. Volunteer your lunch break at americaletsdolunch.org.
This message brought to you by Meals on Wheels America and the Ad Council.
You know how sometimes you're out and about and sometimes you have to access a report, maybe your bank account, maybe something that's important to you, but you don't want other people to be able to access it? I know you're probably sitting there for a moment going, well, why don't you just go into incognito mode and use that instead? Well, let me tell you something real quick. Incognito mode does not hide your activity. It doesn't matter what mode you use or how many times you clear your browser's history. Your internet service provider can still see every single website you visited, and that's why even when I'm at home, I never go online without using ExpressVPN. It doesn't matter who your internet provider is. It can be Verizon, Comcast, or even AT&T. The ISP in the U.S. can legally sell your information to ad companies. ExpressVPN is an app that reroutes your internet connection through their secure servers so your ISP can't see the sites that you visit. ExpressVPN also keeps all of your information secure by encrypting 100% of your data with the most powerful encryption available. Most of the times, I don't even realize I have ExpressVPN on. It runs seamlessly in the background and is so easy to use. All you have to do is tap one button and you're protected. ExpressVPN is available on all of your devices, phones, computers, even your smart TV. So there's no excuse for you not to be using it. Protect your online activity today with the VPN rated #1 by CNET and Wired. Visit my exclusive link at expressvpn.com/safety, and you can get an extra 3 months free on a 1-year package. That's expressvpn.com/safety. expressvpn.com/safety to learn more.
This show is almost as enjoyable as hearing the sound of the toilet flush. Rated R Safety Show on Safety FM.
Okay, so there you go. A lot of stuff going on according to the world of the news and all that kind of fun stuff, as you were hearing first thing in the morning. So there you go. So let's get into it. Let's take the deep dive. Yeah, the deep dive of what is going on real quick. So catastrophic events on Earth don't occur at random. Researchers from the New York University performed analysis of 260 million years of major geological events, including extinction, eruption, and sea level fluctuation, and found that the events occurred in reoccurring clusters spaced through roughly 27.5 million years apart. The pulses of geological activity may be the results of yet undetermined cycles of activity in Earth's interior, such as platonics. The post-recent pulse was about almost 7 million years ago, so suggesting that there isn't one due for another 20 million years, 0.5 or change. So there you go. I think we're going to be okay. Unless some way, shape, or form somebody figures out, endless life cycles, then you might run into some kind of small problem.
Duh.
Okay, so let's continue talking about some other stuff real quick. A female former U.S. Marine turned up dead in Russia after catching a ride with a stranger and texting her mom, "I hope I'm not being abducted," earlier this week. The body of the 35-year-old Catherine Serow, a law student from California, was found in Saturday in a forest outside of a suburb where she lived in western Russia. Catherine was in Russia to study the law while learning the language so she could return to the States and work as an immigrant attorney. A 44-year-old man has been arrested in the connection of her disappearance and her death. So there you go, some additional information. I always fear when we come back into Tuesdays. Really do, because we know that it's going to be the death cycle. I know it's a terrible thing to say, but think about it for a moment. Let's talk about this real quick. Well, let's say this. The feature story news people talked about it, but let's talk a little bit more about this. A strictly limited number of fans will be allowed to attend the Tokyo Olympics. Organizers announced yesterday that the maximum will be 10,000 fans. All to whom must be Japanese residents will be allowed in each Olympic venue, regardless whether it's indoors or outdoors. And the decision comes, and many still oppose holding the games next month in light of the number of the coronavirus cases in the area. So what do you think about this? Do you agree? Do you disagree? Do you think it should go on? Do you think it should be held back? Are you going to watch? Because here's the fun part. If you disagree with something as a consumer, the easiest way to actually show as a consumer that you don't agree with it is not to buy. In this case, would be not to watch. Because if advertising goes down, if they're not hitting their advertiser rate, then people will not care to continue to advertise for it. I mean, let's just be realistic as the reality of the scenario. So will you be watching this year's Olympics that were postponed? Just a question. Something to think about, of course. Anyways, a naked man broke into a Bel Air home telling the homeowner that it was his house. The homeowner, not wanting to escalate the situation, left and called 911. While waiting for the officers to arrive, the homeowner and his wife watched the intruder via security camera try their clothes, take a swim in the pool, and kill their 2 pet parakeets by stomping on them. What? The man was eventually stopped by a neighbor security, and he was arrested and faces burglary and animal cruelty charges. Hold on. Some dude broke into your house, said that he was in that your house was his house, and you got up and left? That's different. It ran in naked. I will tell you, the naked in the rain stuff, I mean, people running around naked and weird stuff, I almost have a story that I could tell that happened yesterday, but who the hell even knows?
More sarcasm than a Mortal Kombat beatdown. Rated R Safety Show.
Okay, a rockhopper penguin at the St. Louis Zoo was recently fitted with a pair of custom shoes to help with his arthritis pain. Enrique, whom zookeeper estimates around 30 years old, developed calluses on his feet, and creams and sprays with caretakers were applying and washed away anytime he got his feet wet. We had to think of something outside the box, so zoo veterinarian Dr. Jimmy Johnson, that he used to coach the Cowboys, told the Post-Dispatch that they were thinking about coming into mind with some boots. Zoo staff worked on the Therapaw, who are known for making dog boots, to fit Enrique with his own fancy footwear. Yeah, you can find out more about that by just going online, if you need the feel-good story of today. Anyway, San Francisco brothers Moses, 26, and Daniel Monterrubio, 23, claimed that they have been set the record for the longest high line ever walked in California Yosemite National Park. According to the San Francisco Chronicle, the brothers walked the line, which ran 2,800 feet from the Yosemite Taft Point across the gullies, and that reached about 1,600 feet deep several times starting in June the 10th. Highlighting features the narrow strip, nylon webbing strung among the two anchor points. Walkers then carefully venture out of the line wearing a safety harness that is secured around the line. Prior to the Yosemite walk, the pair paid, the pair said that they had walked the lines of Utah and Mexico. Previous records for the longest highline walk in California is 954 feet. So don't you have to have some kind of proof for this? And look, it doesn't sound like anybody fell, which is kind of important. And they had the right harness to do the job. So maybe we should consider that portion. Having the right equipment to do the job. Maybe that could be something. Think about that.
We are now video streaming the Rated R Safety Show. I don't know why our host has a face for radio. Rated R Safety Show.
Okay, the South African woman who claims to give birth to 10 babies has been admitted to the hospital for psychiatric evaluation. There we go. Miss Sithole, who had made the headlines for alleged record-breaking, was taken to the psychiatric ward last week. According to South Africa eyewitnesses, a source told the outlet that the evaluation has shown that there was no pregnancy. It was also shows that there are no physical scars that indicate a recent C-section. Sithole's attorney claims the woman is now being held against her will and will at the hospital. Okay, local health officials have stated that there is no record of disciplines being born at any of the region's private or public facilities. So there you go. A lot of strangers inside the world. Why would you want to do this? I mean, were you going to get that kind of money? I mean, like crazy money? I don't get it, but hey, whatever you do, I'll do me, and we'll go from there. Anyways, let's get into this, and let's talk about the Market Beat Minute and get Johnny Smalls inside of here and see what he has to say.
Here's your Market Beat Minute for Tuesday, June 22nd, 2021. Equity markets started the week strong with the S&P 500 rising more than 1.3% Monday. It appears the market is shrugging off the fear of rising inflation, which was caused by last week's FOMC meeting. Even so, the risk of inflation is still present and this week poses another threat to the rally. The May personal income and spending data is due out on Friday, and with it, the PCE price deflator. Core consumer inflation is expected to have subdued by 0.10% over the last month to 0.6%. The risk is that it will be hotter than expected. A hotter than expected number will increase the expectation for future rate hikes and may put a cap on the rally. If the market likes what it sees, however, it could be off to the races with the S&P 500 moving up to set a new all-time high. You can get the inside track from Wall Street's brightest minds delivered directly to your inbox every day at marketbeatminute.com.
Okay, thank you, Johnny Smalls, for that one. I really do appreciate it. If you want to hear more about what John Smalls has going on, he is available on RadioBig.fm in the afternoon drive time. Him and his wife, Heidi, do the John and Heidi show. You can take a listen there. So anyways, thank you for the stock information. Let's move forward and talk about some other things related to stocks. Stocks saw incredible gains on Monday to the start of the new trading week. The Dow rose 586 points. The NASDAQ lifted 111 points. And the S&P saw a 58 point increase. The Nasdaq Composite Index, the relative underperformer during the session, and gained 0.08%. Big technology names such as Amazon, Tesla, Nvidia, and Netflix lost on Monday, believe it or not. So there you go. Anyways, let's continue talking. Vaccine advisors from the CDC will meet on Wednesday to discuss reports linking heart inflammation to COVID-19 vaccines in youth and young adults. There have been more than 300 cases of microcarditis and pericarditis in youth and young adults that have recently received the Pfizer or Moderna vaccine. Advisors will also discuss the link and whether the benefits outweigh the risk. Worth noting, the Committee of Immunization Practices was scheduled to meet last week, but the meeting was postponed because of Juneteenth federal holiday. So there you go. Some stuff to talk about. Right there it is, 25 minutes past the top of the hour, so let's continue talking here. An aquarium in Connecticut is auctioning off the naming rights of 3 of its 5 newly arrived beluga whales. President and CEO Stephen Cann announced that the Sea Research Foundation has teamed up with the New York-based auction house and hold the fundraising auction on August the 19th at the Mystic Aquarium. The aquarium hopes to raise $4 million in the auction, which will also feature a donated art and some unique experiences. Oh my. The money raised will go towards the animal cares to offset the cost of transporting them from Canada. I didn't know that Canada was a big beluga whale kind of place, but good to know. So there you go. That's the information going on. So let's get into our main story, because it should be close to that time right now.
Here is our main story on the Rated R Safety Show.
Okay, so talking about the things going on inside of the world as we kind of start sequencing and all that. What do you do as the professional that you are, the world of safety that you kind of hang out in, or whatever profession you're currently in, as you're taking a listen around doing the things that you do here with me? But what do you do when you run into X, where you have a question or you have something that needs to be done and you just don't know what to do? Who do you turn to? What do you turn to? Where do you go? Like, I can tell you that I can legitimately sit here right now and run into a problem related to safety and go, okay, I know of at least 10 people I could call, even at this ungodly hour, that will answer the phone to be able to answer my question that I might have. They might not be happy about answering it, but they'll do it. So there you go. So as you take a listen to this, do you have a network? Do you have colleagues? Do you have acquaintances or friends that you can call when you run into a problem related to your profession? Not like you got drunk, you were driving, you got arrested. Not that kind of problem. I'm sure you have some of those too, but that's a separate conversation. But do you have people that you can count on if you're running into an issue? And I'm not talking about a website. I'm not talking about, hey, oh yes, I have this friend that that does this that I listen to. No. I'm talking about a legitimate network of people that you can contact at any given point to ask questions to that you can get a result. And believe me, I'm not asking, hey, come into the box here and start name dropping everybody who's on your list, because I know people like that. That's not what I'm asking for. I'm asking, do you have this? Because the thought process here is you always should be networking where you can grow the network of people that you know. Because here's the thing, and I know some people might not agree with this 100%, but I don't think that we do what we do for the money. And I definitely know that we don't do what we do for the level of respect that we get from organizations. But what do you think about this? When you come in and you start talking about all the stuff that happens inside of your world, do you have someone to turn to? Because I think it becomes a difficult conversation going forward if you don't. Because if I can only rely on knowledge base based on books, podcasts, shows, and so on, I might have a small problem. Now, I'm not saying go join a network or a group or a membership board where you have to pay a fee annually to know like-minded people. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying, have you developed a network of people, period? Because sometimes we tend to forget what we need as interaction from others. And as much as you need someone to be able to speak with, to be able to assist you and so on, they need the same thing. Like, I will tell you, I know of people that are consultants that I can contact at any point that will have a better understanding of certain items of consultancy that I will not understand. I also know people that are very heavily related to OSHA that I can contact them and they will be able to tell me things related to OSHA. I know people that run their own organizations that I can contact and go, hey, I have a question about this because I'm running into a problem, and they're able to do so. And listen, I know that this is going to sound more of a rant this morning, but I think that we tend to forget how we need people. And I can sit back and go, oh, no, I can handle it all on my own. And I can say that. I can definitely say that out loud. But when you start doing the things that you do, you kind of realize that it's a lot easier if you kind of have a network of people that you can go to. I'm not saying, hey, join a partnership and start an employment key or anything like that. I have a whole other conversation about partnerships. That's a whole other story. But I look at it and I go, you have to be able to have people that you can rely on. And I know people have come up with ideas of groups where it's kind of like-minded people and websites and all that. But I'm just talking about the normal hardcore style of picking up the phone and calling somebody. And yeah, I know that's old school. I mean, we could go text, but I'm sure that text would be way too long. But think about it for a moment. Are you building a group of people you can go to? Do you see, when we start speaking about this, do you see a value added into it? Listen, I like hanging and helping out organizations and helping out groups that are non-profit or not for profit in regards of what they're doing. Have no problem with that. I've built a network of people that I got to know in person because of that I can say, hey, I can rely on them and call them. I also have another whole network of other people that I can call. But that's what I like. I like the availability of being able to do so. What becomes interesting is when we sit back and think we can take it all on. And you can't take it all on. There's so many things that go on inside of this world that makes it difficult to know everything. I know some claim that they do. Good for them. Unfortunately, I don't fall into that category. So what do you think about that? Do you ever look at that and go, there is a need? The next question might be is where to start? Well, as things are starting to open up, maybe that's the conversation starter. Maybe that's starting to interact with people in person. Yes, in person. About those. Like, I will tell you, I have some of the weirdest circumstances sometimes occur in regard to being able to meet people in person. Like, I have had people fly into where I live, not directly to where I live, but kind of the area, just to be in Orlando for us to be able to meet, which is interesting. But those are the things that I think that will bring value later on in regards of how we build a relationship. And I think that if we start thinking about this kind of from a bigger scope, it will become more interesting for us on the knowledge base and those calls and the networks that we have of people. Believe me, at no point am I going to say, I have a community that we can build a network, a group together. No, that's not what I'm saying. Even though I could see where that could be an easy swing for someone, but that's a whole other story. So think about that for a moment. Think about creating a group that you can call a phone chain at any point where you have any problem related to the career path you have taken. How different would that be if you don't have that already? Think about how much life would be easier. And I'm not saying, hey, depend on every single item either on what you're wanting to do. But it's something definitely to think about. But then again, what do I know? I'm just a guy behind a microphone.
Oops. What did he just say?
We at Safety FM don't always agree with the viewpoints of our hosts and guests.
Now back to real safety talk on Safety FM.
Don't go anywhere.
You're listening to the home of real safety talk.
You are listening to Safety FM. We'll be right back.
Hamilton was adopted from a rescue in 2008. He really likes to be around people. I get out my mat and I'm doing a downward dog and he's underneath. He's quite the pug about town. He gets invited to a lot of parties. He knows he's a pretty big deal. Look at this little face. How could you not love him?
Hamilton the Pug, Instagram star, and Shelter Pet. Amazing adoption stories start in shelters. Visit theshelterpetproject.org to find a pet near you. Brought to you by Maddie's Fund, the Humane Society of the United States, and the Ad Council.
You make sure his toys don't have any sharp edges. You taught her what to do when the smoke alarm goes off. You do so much to keep your child safe. But are you using the right car seat for your child? Car crashes are a leading killer of children ages 1 to 13. Protect your child's future at every stage of life. For information on the right seat for your child, visit safercar.gov/the right seat.
A message from the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
So you see, son, good manners are important. Should I go through it again?
Yes.
Yes, please.
Yes, please.
Exactly. Always say please, thank you, you're welcome, and excuse me. Sit up straight, hold doors open. Don't speak with your mouth full. Keep your elbows off the table. Share your things, play nice, and generally treat others the way you'd like to be treated. Got it?
Got it.
And stop picking your nose.
Most parenting is hard to do in just 2 minutes. But 2 minutes twice a day making sure they brush their teeth is easier, and it could help save them from a lifetime of tooth pain. Visit 2min2x.org to find out more. A message from the Partnership for Healthy Mouths, Healthy Lives, and the Ad Council.
I'm a retired school psychologist, and helping people was my thing. After my stroke, when Meals on Wheels started, I was on the other end of the stick, so to speak. My name is Julius Gaines, creative writer, poet, photographer.
1 in 6 seniors faces the threat of hunger, and millions more live in isolation. Drop off a hot meal and say a quick hello. Volunteer for Meals on Wheels by donating your lunch break at americaletsdolunch.org. This message brought to you by Meals on Wheels America and the Ad Council.
So I interrupt this very important show to discuss this important matter with you. And here's what I want to share. You know that for years I have been telling you on this show that I don't sleep too great. Well, over the last few months, I've actually acquired a Helix Sleep mattress. And it has changed the way that I sleep entirely. Listen, I have to tell you, for years I have struggled day in and day out, or night in and night out, on how I sleep. But ever since I went to Helix Sleep and took the sleep quiz, it has changed my way of sleeping. All you need to do to be able to encounter this luxury in your home, just go to helixsleep.com/safety. That's helixsleep.com/safety. Take their 2-minute sleep quiz, and they'll match you with a customized mattress that will give you the best sleep of your life. Helix Sleep is offering up to $200 off of all orders and 2 free pillows for our listeners at helixsleep.com/safety. That's helixsleep.com/safety for up to $200 off and 2 free pillows. Oh, there you go. Lo que soñaba. Looney. Mira, Looney. So there you go. That's what you're taking a listen to. 39 minutes past the top of the hour. Yeah, this song's readily available on Spotify and iTunes. So there you go. Some gimmicks going on there. So thank you to Looney for allowing us to take a play on this. That's for sure. Anyways, let's get back into it. This lovely, lovely Tuesday. So let's talk about some more things going on inside of the world of the news. Down with the hiccups. I'm definitely down with the sickness. Some scientists say they've come up with a cure for the hiccups. It doesn't involve something like screaming, booing, or standing on your head while chugging water. The Hickaway, developed at the University of Texas Health Science Center, it gets rid of the it's a rigged L-shaped straw and it's adjustable pressure. Sipping water through it will supposedly cure the hiccups immediately for about 92% of people. You ready for this? It costs just $14. The effects will stay for several hours, according to the developer. I've always heard about holding your breath, but now I think about it, holding your breath cures just about every other element too. As long as it lasts enough to be to get it through the door and past my wife. Caution for some people, they've just cured the way of farting as well, if you really think about it.
You are listening to something magical. You're listening to the Rated R Safety Show.
So are you ready for this? Here's some investment options. Let's talk about this because I want to talk about this real quick because it's crazy. With home prices at a record level and commercial properties, something few people can even think of buying, 2 Canadian companies have found a way to get into some of the action. Fraction ownership allows individuals to buy a share of a single house, apartment building, and industrial park. Experts say that the Vancouver-based startup Addy and Toronto's Buy Properly, are opening up a new path to participate in real estate by lowering costs. They essentially crowdfund a property purchase by attracting investors online. Even if you don't have a down payment for the house or can't finance a strip mall, with a few mouse clicks, an electronic fundraising transfer, you could become part owner of a property. Avis Devine, an associate professor at the real estate of the York University, says that the industry is ripe for disruption because we're operating the same way for way too long. She believes that fraction of the ownership could be very appealing to the Gen Z and younger millennials. In Australia, India, and the U.S., companies are offering different fractions of ownership options. For example, American company shells and shares of Australians' farmland, a transaction that can be done in less than 10 minutes. 10 minutes? I take longer than that to pick a banana. That's not even a funny thing. If I know they say that when it comes to investing, there is no such thing as a sure thing, but if you want to follow my lead on this, you'll lose money. Sure thing. No, seriously. When it comes to something, well, let's see it. I get it. Something came up, and then now Gen Zers could experience what it's like for something to mature. So, I mean, think about it. Just think about this. But would this be something that would be interesting to you? Partial property owning. I mean, it's not like you could ever go to that partial of the property and be like, hey, I'm going to hang out here. But is this something that you would invest in? I don't know. But I will tell you, house properties are kind of going a little while. I was doing some research over the weekend of this neighborhood that I am close to. We'll say it that way. But people actually getting 10% above the cost of what the house was selling for. Yeah, you heard me there. 10% above of what the house was selling for. 10%. So I'm asking for this, but you got 10% more. I mean, good for them, but it's a little interesting when you definitely hear something like that. It's like, what's going on with the market? It's kind of crazy.
This show is almost as enjoyable as hearing the sound of the toilet flush. Rated R Safety Show on Safety FM.
Okay, some more tech talk. As you know, conversations can quickly spiral out of control, so Facebook is hoping artificial intelligence can help keep things civil. The social network is testing the use of AI to spot fights in its many groups. AI will decide when to send out to the company call conflict alerts to the group administrator. The alerts will be sent out and the AI determines that the conversation in their group is contentious or unhealthy. That's pretty much applies to any conversation I've seen online, except for the ones that are knitting and probably, even what was close to that or whatever the hell you call it. But here's the thing. I have to tell you, Facebook in particular has been doing some very weird things as of recent. Yeah, I have a personal Facebook page that I do hang out and kind of go and do the stuff that I do on Facebook. But as of recent, I don't know what the hell I did, but I got demoted that I couldn't even like other people's posts for a period of time. Don't know what I did. Really didn't give two shits about what I did. And it was okay because I wasn't really liking anybody's posts. So it was cool. So let's continue talking. When NASA's Orion's spacecraft launches the unscrewed autonomous a moon mission later this year, is the commander seat won't be empty. A mannequin will ride along to provide data on what a human crew members might experience during the flight spaceship in 2023. That's why NASA is holding the name of the Moon Liking Challenge. Throughout June 28 on social media, users are asked to vote on 8 nominated names, including, oh my God, so there's all the names. We're not going to go through all of them. But there you go. You can name what the hell you want the mannequin to be. So there you go. Anyways, good morning, Mr. Posel. What do you got here? What do you got? House values are nuts here. Guy across the street sold his house in 12 minutes at the price that he was asking. So that means that he sold it 12 minutes too quick. He should have held out. I will tell you, I do tend to listen to Dave Ramsey quite a bit, financial guru guy. And he was talking about him and his daughter, Rachel Cruz, were talking about how home selling has now become almost like home auctioning, where it is not unheard of, at least because they're in the real estate market, to have up to 50 offers for a home that is being put out right now. I mean, it's crazy. I was legitimately thinking about getting rid of my place and moving down the road just for the sake of doing it. My wife didn't appreciate that too much when I did say that.
Listen to our host of the Rated R Safety Show. Self-implode on our airwaves, only on Safety FM.
So maybe because we're talking about money and how things work, maybe we should talk about the top 10 things that people tend to learn in life too late. You want to talk about this real quick? We'll go through this. This would normally be a Radio Big.FM kind of list, but we'll talk about it here. Number 1, everything is temporary. Number 2, life isn't fair. 3, family matters more than friends. Oops. Number 4, others treat you the way you treat yourself. Number 5, beneath anger, there's always fear. Number 6, happiness is a choice and requires hard work. Number 7, a lifetime isn't as long as you think. Number 8, the bigger the risk, it is not taking any risk. Or the biggest risk is not taking any risk. That's number 8. Number 9, things don't matter so much. And number 10, and I want you to listen to this one, you played it too safe. Not the way you're thinking. You played it too safe. Mine, when you say grease the bottom of the pan, they don't really mean the bottom of the pan. Just wanted to make sure that we know that. Anyways, let's continue talking about some other things that might be important to you. It is 48 minutes past the top of the hour. So let's continue talking and moving and grooving and all that other fun stuff. Wow, how did I get already? Okay, no, that's not going to be important. So let's continue talking. No winner for Friday night's Make a Million drawing. Tonight's drawing will be for $40 million jackpot or $28.2 million cash payout. No winner for Saturday night's Powerball drawing. Wednesday's drawing will be for $63 million jackpot or $44.9 million cash payout. So there you go. If you play the game, there you go. Some good stuff going your way. Anyways, let's continue talking. Did you hear about this? I need to mention it. Macy Gray doubled down on her push to change the American flag, arguing that represents hate and divisiveness. The singer, who penned an op-ed for Juneteenth about how the flag needs to be updated, said that the flag was used for a symbol during the January 6th riot at the Capitol and that it's not what America is. Gray said that she shouldn't or have to honor it or pledge to it when she isn't part of the tribe. So what do you think when you hear something like that? Your thoughts, of course. This has actually been making the circuits, going around and all that kind of fun stuff. I'm just asking the question. So you think about that. Let me know what you think. Just your thought process. Of course, people are entitled to their own opinions. Anyways, let's talk about some other stuff going around and about real quick. We'll talk about some birthdays today. Wow, Carson Daly turns 48 today. Mary Lynn Rothsteck turns 50. Kurt Warner, 50. Dan Brown, 57. Erin Brockovich, the activist, movie made off of her, played by Julia Roberts. Yeah, she turned 61 today. Cyndi Lauper turned 68. Wow, I'm getting old. I'm getting old when I start hearing these things. Meryl Streep, 72. And Elizabeth Warren. Yep, Elizabeth Warren turned 72. How interesting is that stuff? How interesting is listening to all this? Anyways, let's talk about some things that happened back on this date. You ready for this? Back in 2009, we're going a little bit far here, the Eastman Kodak Company discontinues the Kodachrome. It's the signature camera, film, and the theme of Paul Simon's song. Kodak received nearly 20,000 patents in the 20th century for its innovation in photography. Nearly a quarter of those patents came between 1995 and 1999. In World War I, it helped develop aerial cameras for spy missions, and in 1969 provided the film used on the Apollo 11 moon landing mission. Think about that real quick. Think about how important of a sequence that actually played. Anyways, if you're looking for some days of the year to celebrate today, let's go through them. National Chocolate Eclair Day. I like that idea. I do. National Havoc, or excuse me, I shouldn't say Havoc. I should say HVAC Tech Day. National Onion Rings Day. National Columnist Day, and World Rainforest Day. So there you go. Some things going on for sure inside of the world as we are speaking about some different things for sure. Anyway, so that's what we got coming up, going around and all that other kind of fun stuff. So let me give you some more things before we get you out of here. At the top of the hour, I will be moving over to RadioBig.fm if you want to come out, hang out, and take a listen to whatever the hell we got going on there. Think we could have some fun together. Anyways, let's talk about some whack facts on this lovely Tuesday. In Saudi Arabia, it is considered polite to decline any invitation at least once before accepting. So does that mean you shouldn't actually ask them again if you don't want them to come? I'm just asking the weird question. 55% of corporate downsizing takes place on Tuesday. Sorry about that. It is Tuesday. Al Capone played banjo in Alcatraz prison ban. FM radio waves can leave Earth's atmosphere. AM radio waves cannot. Good to be on an FM station. The front of a giraffe's tongue is dark purple to protect it from sunburn while eating. Annually, there's about 60,000 trampoline injuries in the U.S. and about 150 dustpan injuries. So it sounds like there's time to actually hit the market for when it comes to things related to trampoline injuries, is what it sounds like. Anyways, let me give you some other info. The CW just announced that which shows they'll be canceling next week. Technically, they announced a new fall lineup, but still. Record-breaking temps have been recorded throughout much of the U.S., so it's so hot, grouchy old men have been yelling, "Get off the patch of dirt, you damn punk kids." Much of Arizona, Texas, New Mexico, Nevada, and Colorado experienced record-breaking temperatures in the past week. It also was so hot in Colorado that pot plants were being watered with recycled bong water. According to a report, a child was treated for toy-related injury every 3 minutes in the U.S. Health officials call the study shocking and horrifying. America's Funniest Home Videos fans call it awesome and hilarious. There is an app that can give you a 10-minute alert before you need to poop. Currently, their only way to calculate when you need to go is wait 30 minutes after eating at Chipotle. Oh, what is going on here?
Oops. What did he just say?
We at Safety FM don't always agree with the viewpoints of our hosts and guests.
Now back to real safety talk on Safety FM.
We definitely seem to be all over the place today when we're talking about all these crazy things that are going on. That is for sure.
Insurance companies, giant hospitals, and big business don't fear going to court unless they're facing me. The courtroom is where I made my name, Jeffrey Feiger. It's where I make winning the only option. It's in my DNA. Feiger Law. I was born for this.
I was born for this. I was born for this.
Okay, so if you want more information on Jeffrey Feiger, you can actually go to 1-800, or excuse me, you can call 1-800-866-A-WINNER. So there you go. Let's talk about it. So I'm starting to see these more and more again, so I guess it's time to start talking about it again. If you are not speaking at any events during the month of September 13th through the 15th, I got a sign for you. So here you go. You can actually download this thing. You can use our little QR code here if you're watching on the streamer, or you can go to safetyfm.com/I am not. That is safetyfm.com/I am not. And you can download this lovely site and post it on social media and let people know that I am not speaking at any safety conference or expo during the September 13th through the 15th. I don't want you to feel left out. I'm going to leave that code there just in case if you want it. I don't want you to feel left out during the time frame. It's so important. People are all over social media posting on, I am going to be speaking and blah, blah, blah. It's all about diversity and inclusion. So that way you can post something on social media where you can be part of the cool kids. I mean, we did a different color just for the sake of doing it. Didn't want anybody to have any confusion on what the hell we were doing. So there you go. We are about 3 months away. So you can start posting it now and sharing and spreading the love and all that kind of fun stuff as we are doing it. Anyways, it is 56 minutes past the top of the hour. We're about to get you the hell out of here. But before I do so, let me tell you the most important thing I'm going to tell you all day. Let me tell you about my friends at the American Foundation for Suicide Prevention. Know that you're not alone. Whether you have struggled with suicide yourself or have lost a loved one, know that you're not alone. Hear about personal experiences from people in your local communities whose lives have been impacted by suicide and depression. If you want to find out more information, you can go to afsp.org. That's afsp.org, or call 1-800-273-TALK. That's 1-800-273-TALK, or text the word TALK to 741-741. Listen, don't do anything until you've contacted these people if you are struggling with depression or contemplating suicide. There are people locally that can help you. There are people digitally that can help you. There's a phone call you can make. I just don't want you to make a decision without getting all the info ahead of time. Anyways, so that's what I got for you on that. It's so important, seriously. American Foundation for Suicide Prevention. American Foundation for Suicide Prevention. Seriously. Think about it real quick before you do anything. Anyways, before we get you out of here, let me tell you a couple more things. If you need a random joke for today, most people just work hard enough to get fired, or not. People work just hard enough not to get fired and are paid enough money not to quit. That's a George Carlin one, just in case. If you need a phone starter for today, try this one. If you're in charge of creating a new holiday, what would it be and how would it be celebrated? Really? Why is your birthday coming to your mind? Is that really a holiday? If you need something for the water cooler, try this one. Question. A survey found that this is the most annoying habit of bad neighbors. What is it? Being too noisy. Yeah, being too noisy. I would almost say being too nosy, but being too noisy is probably not that big of a deal. But trying to know everything you got going on, that might be a little bit too much for me. So there you go. A lot of stuff right there. Anyways, you've been listening to the Rated R Safety Show exclusively on RadioBig.fm and on SafetyFM.com. Safety FM is the home of real safety talk. We can't do without what we do without you. The most important part of Safety FM and Radio Big, and that is the listener, just in case. So anyways, if I can leave you with a thought for today, I would love to leave you with this one. People who say they don't care what people think are usually desperate to have people think that they don't care what people think. That's another George Carlin one for you today. Anyways, I know who you are. You know who I am. Love you, mean it, and goodbye.
The views and opinions expressed on this podcast are those of the host and its guest and do not necessarily reflect the official policy or position of the company. Examples of analysis discussed within this podcast are only examples. They should not be utilized in the real world as the only solution available, as they are based only on very limited and dated open source information. Assumptions made within this analysis are not reflective of the position of the company. No part of this podcast may be reproduced, stored in a retrieval system, or transmitted in any form or by any means, mechanical, electronic, recording, or otherwise, without prior written permission of the creator of the podcast, Jay Allen.